here's to walk step by step. We want to break down exactly what you need to click, why you're clicking it, so you feel confident managing these kinds of digital assets. And just for clarity, when we say APTM harvest, we're talking about collecting the rewards or tokens like APTM that you've earned. Think of it kind of like digital yield. And we're doing it with that secure hardware wallet, the Keystone.
Right. And while this guide is very procedural, step by step, the bigger picture here is really about understanding the why behind the security. It's not just about APTM. It's a perfect example of how hardware wallets like Keystone and software wallets like Metamask have to work together precisely to keep things safe. Every click counts.
Absolutely. And that's why we're going to break down each action. Even if you're kind of new to hardware wallets or claiming stuff like this, we want it to make sense. It's like a little digital quest, right? And every quest starts with getting prepared. Okay, so let's unpack this. The source material starts with preparation. Makes sense. You got to get into your account first. The steps look pretty standard. First, click on login. Okay. Then enter your password. Makes sense. And finally, click on unlock.
Yeah, these seem basic, but honestly, they're fundamental. It's all about proving it's really you accessing the account, like, the first security checkpoint. Without getting past this stage, nothing else happens. You're essentially at the front gate.
Right, gate unlocked. So once you're in, securely logged in, we hit the first real action step in the process itself, step one. And it just says click on inventory. So that sounds simple. But maybe for someone who hasn't done this, what is inventory in this context? Is it just a list?
Basically, yes. Think of inventory as your digital vault's dashboard. It's where you see all the assets you currently hold. And crucially, it's likely where these potential harvests, like your APTM rewards, would show up as being available to claim. So yeah, it's your starting point for seeing what you've got.
Okay, so you check your inventory, you see the APTM waiting. Now you want to actually start the claim. That brings us to step two, which is click on access now. And right after that, step three is click on claim. It feels like a quick 1-2 punch. Access, then claim.
Exactly. It's like you're telling the system, okay, I see this reward, then yes, I want to start the process of collecting it now. And following that claim click, there's step four, which is click on confirm. That's your final sort of software side confirmation before things get really interesting. Like, yep, I'm sure, let's do this.
Okay, confirmed. Now, what's interesting is the guide we're looking at seems to jump from step four right over 5 and 6, straight to step 7. So maybe steps 5 and 6 are things the system does in the background. But the next thing you have to do involves picking up your physical Keystone device.
And this is the critical security transition. We're moving from clicks on a screen, which could potentially be compromised, to needing interaction with the physical hardware wallet. This step is vital because your private keys, the things that actually control your crypto, they never leave that Keystone device. So you have to physically approve the transaction on the device itself. No remote hacking possible at this stage.
That physical touch point is key. Okay, so step 7 says on your Keystone device, click on. But it doesn't actually specify the button label. Is that normal?
Yeah, that's pretty common actually. Sometimes the exact button text might change slightly with firmware updates, or maybe it's just an obvious confirm or sign button. The main point isn't the word on the button, but the action, you physically pressing something on that separate secure device. You got to be there.
Got it. And then there's this OR for step 8, which also doesn't have details. Any idea what that might mean? An alternative.
That OR could mean a few things. Maybe it depends on the specific transaction type. Or perhaps if you have like a multi-sig setup where more than one approval is needed, it could also just be a different prompt depending on, say, the amount. But it highlights that security can involve different paths or checks. Either way, it emphasizes that this hardware interaction is the core security step. Even if someone somehow got your login password, they'd still be stuck without the actual Keystone device in their hands. That's a pretty strong lock, isn't it?
It really is.
Oh.
Okay, so you've clicked something on the Keystone. Now we get to step 9, where the Keystone device will display a QR code. And you need to place the QR code in front of something, presumably your computer's camera or phone. Why a QR code? Why not just plug it in?
Great question. The QR code method is all about maintaining what's called an air gap. It's a really important security concept. Basically, air-gapped means there's no direct electronic connection, no USB cable, no Bluetooth between your Keystone, where your keys are safe, and your computer or phone, which is connected to the internet and potentially less secure. The QR code acts like a visual messenger. The Keystone displays the signed transaction data visually in the code, and your computer's webcam or phone camera reads it. It transfers the necessary info without any direct link that malware could potentially exploit.
So air-gapped means physically separate, communicating only through the camera seeing the screen. That's clever.
Exactly. It's a deliberate choice for higher security, even if it seems a bit clunky compared to plugging in a cable. It minimizes attack vectors.
Makes sense. So you scan that QR code, and that leads us into the software wallet side again with Metamask. Step 10 says Metamask will display the transaction, and then you just click on Done.
Right. MetaMask reads the info from the QR code, understands the transaction that your Keystone securely signed, and shows it to you one last time. Clicking Done here usually means MetaMask is now ready to, or has already, broadcasted that transaction to the blockchain network.
And the final step, the moment of truth. Step 11. On Metamask, you click on Tokens, and the guide says, here, your claimed APTM will be displayed.
Yep, that's the payoff. You refresh your token list or navigate to it in MetaMask, and you should see your APTM balance updated with the harvested amount. It's the confirmation that the whole process worked from start to finish, like seeing the funds land in your account.
Wow, okay, so let's recap this journey quickly.
Yeah.
We went from logging in securely, clicking through a few confirmation steps in the software, then crucially interacting physically with the Keystone device, using that air-gapped QR code to pass the signed transactions safely over to MetaMask, and finally seeing those claimed APTM tokens appear right there in your MetaMask wallet. Phew.
It sounds like a lot of steps when we break it down like this, but each one has a specific security purpose. It really highlights how essential it is to follow these procedures carefully when you're dealing with crypto assets. And it perfectly shows that interplay, you know? The hardware wallet, Keystone, acting as the secure vault for your keys, and the software wallet, MetaMask, acting as the user interface and the bridge to the blockchain. They have to work together seamlessly.
It's a well-choreographed security dance, really. So, thinking about this process, this back and forth between different devices and interfaces, it makes you wonder, right? For you, our listener, how do you see this kind of multi-step interaction evolving as we manage more digital assets? Will things get more complex like this? Or will new interfaces or tech emerge to make claiming harvests or just managing assets generally feel easier, maybe even seamless, but without sacrificing that critical security the Keystone provides? What might that future look like?